Reverend John Perry.
All right. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Justice. Now. Hallelujah. I had some things typed up that I wanted to share with you, and then I accidentally erased all of it. And so I took that as a divine sign that perhaps that's not what I was supposed to say. Right now in this moment, I think it's befitting for us to remember Ahmaud Arbery in a moment of silence. But not just Ahmaud Arbery. We want to also stand in solidarity with those that mourn the loss of George Floyd. And so, if you will right now, I'm going to ask that you would bow your head. And whatever your unique faith is, right now, will you give thanks for the sacrifice of their life that is bringing change all throughout the world? Thank you. Can we give them a round of applause? Their life has meaning and great value. Justice is defined as reasonable and fair administration of the law. I'll say that again because I really want all of us to catch that. Justice is defined as fair and reasonable administration of the law. And based upon that definition, it has become painfully obvious to many of us that justice has lost its justness. And there is a need for those of us that live in this great country to call justice back to its rightful place. When we learned of the death of Ahmaud Arbery and we saw the videotape, prior to that tape, many people sat on the fence and they said, we just don't know all the evidence. That was fair. But then we saw the tape. And when we saw the tape as a county, both black and white came together to say this is unjust and something has to be done.
That's right.
I make that point because reporter after reporter has tried to bait me into saying that here in our county, it is a county full of racial hatred. And I've had to stand and boldly say that's not who we are. That the acts of 3 individuals do not define the heart of our county. And as I look out upon this crowd right now, your presence is evidence of the truth of the words that I uttered to every reporter that tried to paint the picture or pull from people the picture of a climate of racial hatred. There's a lot going on right now across the country. Citizens everywhere, not just here, are standing up to let their voices be heard. They're standing up to say enough is enough. They're standing up to say that we have been silent too long at the injustices that we've seen in our justice system. And I want to herald to you all on today that it's not just enough to gather around the courthouse to find out the information that surrounds the Ahmaud Arbery case. We also have to understand that justice for Ahmaud means that we have to hold our local justice system accountable for the injustice of no arrest being made in the very beginning. Most of you sat on Facebook and watched the proceedings on today. And as information came out, I'm sure that you were shocked just like me and stood appalled at the reality that our local system knew some of this information and still did not make an arrest. I'm calling for every citizen not to just be content with the conviction of 3 men.
They gotta go, Dr. Kerr.
We gotta stand up and we gotta say to our justice system holistically that you will no longer take our tax dollars and not administrate the justice that we have put you in place to administer for the people. Lady Liberty has given birth to some children who have gone astray. And I'm sure that many of you, just like me, have believed by faith that it would get better. But our faith has been mishandled. And now it calls for each of us as citizens of this community to stand up and to monitor, evaluate, and hold accountable every official in every place that they hold. I'm going to say this, and this may not be popular to some people, because they don't believe that you should call people out. But it's appalling to me that the highest governing body within our county never spoke to us as a people.
That's right.
Our board of commissioners never came together and made a public statement to us, the community, that they are appointed to serve.
That's right.
Never did we hear them say that we sympathize with the family. Never did we hear them say that we're standing for justice and we're going to find out what went wrong and make sure that it is right.
Amen.
Maybe they believed that they've stayed silent, that we would go away. Maybe they believed that if they played the waiting game, that they wouldn't have to give answer to this. But I'm asking you as a community to stand with me, to say to our commissioners that something went wrong.
That's right.
And we are holding you accountable.
That's right.
To find out what went wrong and to correct the wrong. So no other son, that no other daughter, that no other uncle, that no other father winds up in this situation without justice. So that requires of us responsibility and accountability. No longer can we say that our vote doesn't matter. Your vote does matter. If you never understood that, this should awaken you to the reality that your vote matters. You don't want the wrong people representing you. So we got to exercise our responsibility to vote. Each of you that have friends and have families that are not voting, you got to walk away from here and allow your voice to be the voice that calls them to their rightful duty. We got to exercise our right to vote and encourage everybody that we can to vote. But we also, as a community, have to begin to supervise those that we put in place to exercise authority within our county. No one should sit in a place of power that the people put them in and not be accountable to the people who put them there. so my hopes is that we'll hold up our end of the country right here in Glynn County. That a month from now, the flames won't die.
That's right.
That 2-3 months from now, the flames won't die.
They won't.
But you will understand that you have been allowed to be a part of this generation for such a time as this.
That's right.
I'm done, but I need you to catch this here before I leave. I sound like I'm in church right now. I need to, that was my first close. I'm closing now. I need you to catch this. That in this current generation, there's a generation that's standing there saying that we ain't scared.
That's right. That's right.
They're saying we're not afraid. And it's not just one race of people. It's black, it's white, it's Hispanic, it is Indian, it's Asian. There's a generation that's standing right now that's saying that we are not afraid, and change has to come, and it has to come now. I said this on a Zoom conference. There were some people talking about black power and the black community coming together. And I said to them, I absolutely agree with you that the minority community needs to come together. But this fight of injustice is bigger than just the black community. This fight of injustice requires all of us to declare that enough is enough. And we must have justice now. Justice now. Justice now. Justice now. I was intentional on making sure that this was an abbreviated experience. Third close, final close for real. I was intentional on making sure that this was an abbreviated experience on today. Because there are some agitators that would want to come in and infiltrate the harmony of our community. And we have set a tone. We've been one of the communities in the country that has set a tone. That we're able to come together in harmony, and we're able to come together in unity and stand for what's right. And so we have to make up our mind that we're not going to let any agitators come between the harmony and the unity of our community. That we're going to stand together as one people, declaring that we've got to have justice, and we've got to have justice now. Thank you all so much for coming out and representing our city, our county, in a spirit of excellence. God bless you.